finally, the video I've been wanting to make. I've been putting off for a while because it's a lot of work. And now I'm going to show y'all the full prop firm guide, specifically for futures prop firms. We're going to break it down because a lot of you guys don't know what is a prop firm and the advantage it gives over personal accounts. If you're anything like me, you probably started on a live account. I started my first almost 2 years of my trading journey, 1.5 years, trading on my own live account options, right? Where I scaled my account that I started with $300 to 450 and then deposited more money, got that to 700-800 and then scaled that to 1800 on my own live options account. Then things went downhill and I lost all the profits I made. My account went down to $400. So I lost my investments, a little of my initial investments and the profits I made on it. So went back on demo for a little while, went back on live options trading again after a while from then. And then I was break even on my live account. And then I found out about futures and funded accounts. I found out about funded accounts while I found out about futures as well. So I dove into that and I haven't even turned back. I haven't thought about it at all, and I'm never going to. I've been trading funded accounts for the past almost literally over 2 years. So, and I'm here to show you guys the opportunity and advantage that these funded accounts give you that personal accounts don't. But if you guys are familiar, you know there's such a big advantage. And if you guys are unclear about how they work or what the advantages are and how to trade them, you guys can see the main things we're going to break down right here, the rules, what it is, how it works, how to properly trade them. We're going to break those down all right now. So pay attention, pull out the notebooks if you have to. Let's get into this. So first things first, I want to go over what is a prop firm and how does it work. Okay, we're going to dive down here and we're going to go straight down here. So if a prop firm is just a company that funds traders with capital through an evaluation-based model. That's what we got written down there. So what is an evaluation-based model? All that means is a process where you have to pass a challenge by hitting a certain amount of profit target on a funded account or on a challenge account before hitting a certain amount of drawdown or losing a certain amount of money. And once you hit that profit target, you pass the challenge, quote unquote, you pass the challenge, and then you get access to your funded account. If you lose the challenge, nothing happens. You don't pay the losses or anything. The only thing you just lose access to the account, and the only thing you lost was that money you made to buy that challenge account. I don't think I mentioned it here, but you have to purchase the challenge account first. It's not going to happen it's not going to come for free. You have to purchase that specific challenge to get that opportunity to trade a funded account. And the price that, depending on what prop firm you go with and depending on what discounts are out right now, can vary from as low as $16 all the way up to a few $100. Okay? So, generally, that's going to be the price range you're going to look for. You're going to see. Most of them are going to be under the $100 mark for whatever you guys are going to look for. So, that's the kind of mindset you should have going into this. So the first step that's going to happen is buy your evaluation account. And this is going to be in a demo phase. You're going to be handed a simulation account. That's going to be that challenge account that I was mentioning earlier, where you have to hit a certain profit target on the account before hitting a certain drawdown on the account. And if you guys aren't really aware of what drawdown is, we're going to break that down in a sec. On the right-hand side over here, we have the different examples of the different drawdowns that these prop firms uses and their examples so you can visually see how does the drawdown work. Okay? So you buy the evaluation account, and this is going to be a simulation account, meaning it's on fake money. It's a demo account. You don't actually have 50K when you purchased with $30. You don't actually have the 50K. So there's two ways we can go from here. You can trade on it, hit the profit target. You get funded, which is usually going to be another demo account or a live account, depending on the prop firm you go with and the specific package or specific accounts type that you buy. Some transition you to another demo funded account and then to a live account. Once you prove consistency and show them that you're able to consistently make gains, they'll move you to a live account after that, where your account size is literally live money. Or some of them will just keep you on demo forever, or some will take you to a live account straight after you get funded. After you pass that challenge, you'll be taken to a live account. Usually the common situation is pass the challenge account, hit the profit target, which is passing the challenge account, and then being sent over to another demo account, which is your funded account. That's going to be on demo. Okay, let's just take that scenario. Then number two, you're going to trade on the funded till you either hit the drawdown on that account, or you follow the rules, and now you're eligible to get requested payout. And there's different rules for different payouts, different prop firms requiring you to get to that point where you can request a payout. And when you pass that challenge, I forgot to mention, when you pass that challenge and get a new funded account, that funded account starts at zero balance, meaning at the original initial amount that the account was at whenever you bought it initially, when you first bought the challenge account. So it's a fresh account, but it has the same size as your original account that you bought for. For example, if you had a 50K account, a typical profit target would be 3 grand. A typical drawdown would be 2 grand or 2.5 grand. Let's just say 2.5K in this case. Once you hit that profit target of 3 grand on that 50K account, you pass the challenge, and now you're given access to your funded account where it's a brand new fresh 50K account. You're not starting at 53K now. And then you have to either get to the point where you're able to request a payout, which is following all the rules for the prop firm required for you to be able to request a payout of the profits you made on that account, or you hit the max loss, which is the max drawdown on the account, which is, for example, 2.5K from the peak of your account, from the peak your account has ever went. Okay, and again, there's different ways different prop firms calculate drawdown. There's static drawdown, there's intraday drawdown, there's end of day drawdown, and we're gonna go over all of those in a second. So that's one way. Hit the profit target on your challenge account, get funded, and then trade on your funded till you hit your max drawdown or be able to request a payout. The next way is you either lose money and hit the max drawdown on your challenge account, and you lose the account, and the firm covers the losses for you. You don't have to pay anything out of pocket to cover those losses. The firm takes the hit for you, and the only thing you lost was that initial challenge you paid to get that funded account, or have the opportunity to get that funded account, to pass the challenge. So if you do go with this way, where you hit the profit target on your challenge account, you get funded, which is usually going to be another demo account, and then you trade on your funded and get to payout. The next steps that'll look for you would be requesting your payout. You're going to use that money to get more accounts to be able to trade, because when you're trading prop firms, you're allowed to have more than one account. Majority of these prop firms allow you to have anywhere from 3 or 5 up till 20 accounts at once, trading together to spread across your risk. So you're not taking huge positions on one account. You're leveraging multiple accounts that you bought for very cheap to be able to make a lot more money but you're having your risk spread across multiple accounts. So it's not just all on one account. Okay, that'll allow you to scale. And that's exactly what your goal should be with these prop firms: getting more accounts and using those to get more payouts, and then getting more accounts and then growing your accounts. That's the main goal of this, right? It's kind of similar to a personal account, but not really. There's small differences. So you'd request a payout, you'd use that money to get multiple accounts, and you use a trade copier to connect all those accounts together and copy your trades across multiple accounts. And then with all those accounts, you'd either get to payouts on all the accounts or hit the max drawdown. But let's just say you get the payouts. You get the payouts, and you consistently try to maintain requesting payouts by following the rules and following your profitable strategy and your edge, and build a buffer and scale those accounts to make more money, or get more accounts, whatever that may be for you. Okay, or go onto a live account, whichever the prop firm is working with. Some prop firms will, if they see you making consistent money, they'll put you onto a live account where they combine all your balances on your accounts, give you one single account where it's going to be on a full live account, and that live account is going to consist of you trading the live market with their live funds. Okay, so it depends on what prop firm you go with, and that approach will differ based on the prop firm of your choice. Now, going back to this side, why are prop firms beneficial? Okay, there's 3 things I have over here. Why I think prop firms are beneficial. Because first of all, they give you access to trade large amounts of capital for very, very cheap. For example, $160 for $2,500 of drawdown instead of $2,500 putting in yourself to get access to $2,500. Because if you realistically think about it, when you're purchasing these different funded accounts, which are 50K, 100K, 150K funded, or 300K funded, you're not buying 300K of capital. You're buying whatever the drawdown is. Now, why do I say that? Because the drawdown is the entire wiggle room of the account. When you hit the drawdown, when you use up all of your drawdown and hit the max drawdown, your account's gone. You don't have access to the account anymore. You didn't have to lose 300K to lose the account. You only had to lose that drawdown to lose the account. Meaning that drawdown is the amount of quote unquote capital in the account that we have. So you didn't pay $2,500, for example, to have $2,500 of drawdown. You paid $100 bucks, let's just say, for example, or $160 to get access to $2,500 of drawdown. So now you got $2,500 of capital to trade with and a lot of buying power, which is trading with 1 minis or 2 minis or 3 minis, whatever amount of contracts it may be, with just $100. And if you guys saw my videos breaking down futures, you know how expensive it is to be able to trade 1, 2, or even 3 minis on a funded account. You need a minimum of, if we do the math, I think it's $3,000 minimum in a futures account to be able to trade with 3 minis and have that much leverage. But with a funded account, you get access to that many contracts and more sometimes, depending on what prop firm you go with, for just $160. Okay. Now, before we continue on why it's beneficial, one thing I want to mention is usually some prop firms, you will see an activation fee that you have to pay after you pass that evaluation account, the challenge portion, right? You initially purchase the challenge account, you pass the challenge, you hit the profit target before hitting the drawdown, and you now get access to your funded account. But some companies have an extra fee that you have to pay after you pass your evaluation account before you get to trade on your funded account, and that's called the activation fee usually. And that price can vary anywhere from $80 up to $200 depending on what prop firm you go with. Sometimes some prop firms don't even have that cost. They just have a challenge account. They just have their price to buy the challenge a little more expensive, so it makes up for that cost on their end. So sometimes you'll see a challenge account for $30 and an activation fee after you pass the challenge account for $100 for those who pass the challenge and want to use their funded account. They have to pay $100 and then they'll get access to their funded account. But some companies you'll see maybe they might charge $100 straight up front for the challenge account and they have zero activation fee. Okay, it's all depending on what prop firm you decide to go with. So going back into why it's beneficial, the second thing I mentioned was you don't have to risk your own funds when you want to trade with these funded accounts. This not only helps you save capital on your end, but it helps minimize the pressure. So there's not a lot of pressure, not a lot of stress because you're not trading with a shit ton of money on the line, and saves you from having a huge risk of ruin, or prevents a risk of ruin, or lowers it at least. Because let's say you do go on tilt and you do end up blowing your trades and you do get emotional and overtrade and take too many trades and go hella into drawdown. Instead of losing, for example, $2,500 of your own money on a live account, you just lose that account that you bought because you hit the drawdown and you get locked out and then you lose your account. Now you can't trade anymore. Okay, of course you can go buy more accounts, whatever, but if you take the extra step to go and fully buy accounts after you got emotional, you shouldn't be trading on funded accounts. Okay? Even if you just lose 2 accounts, let's just say you buy one, you trade it, you overtrade, whatever, you get emotional, you buy one more, you trade that, you lose it, you're like, okay, never mind, I gotta stop now. You lost, for example, $200. Let's just say each account was $100. Let me change this so it's easier for us to understand. Okay, instead of you spend $100 on one account and then $100 on a second account, and you blew both of those because you got emotional and went on tilt. So instead of losing $5,000, which is $2,500 from one account, $2,500 from another account, instead of losing $5,000 of your own money on a personal account that you would have lost if you put in that much of your own money into an account, you just lost 2 accounts with $2,500 drawdown in each. That's it. And you lost technically $200. That's it. Instead of $5,000 for 2 accounts. That's why I love funded accounts, because not personally me, I don't go on those emotional tilts like that, at least anymore. I haven't done that any time in the past recent year. But for those who are learning and getting used to funded accounts, it can be very helpful minimizing that pressure, especially if you don't have access to a lot of capital on your end. If you don't have access to a lot of capital, funded accounts are such a good approach because they allow you to have that advantage of getting access to so much capital, so much drawdown. For example, $100 for $2,500 of drawdown, instead of having to put in $2,500 of your own money to be able to make profit on that $2,500. So you're making profit on a $2,500 account with only $100 in. And let's say you blow the account 25 times, all those 20, which you probably won't. And if you do, you probably should go back to demo trading because you shouldn't blow 25 funded accounts. If you blow 25 funded accounts, that's what it will equal one personal account. And if you guys have traded live accounts before, you know how crazy going on tilt and getting emotional on live accounts can get and how bad those can get you in terms of losing money. And frustration and mental pressure, right? You want to minimize that. You want trading to be as risk-free as possible while maintaining that upside potential. And funded accounts give you that approach. Now, the last thing we have over here is you still have huge upside, of course, even though you don't have that much capital. There are traders out there who make several hundreds of thousands from prop firms every single month. Maybe not every single month. I don't know about that many traders who make that every single month. But there are traders that make crazy money from prop firms. You guys have seen me. I don't make crazy money like hundreds of thousands every month, but we're able to maintain 10, 20, potentially 30, and scaling up to $50,000 a month from prop firms just from using funded accounts. Whereas if I wanted to make that money consistently from my own account, from my personal account, I'd have to put in literally probably $500,000 all the way up to $1 million in my own account to be able to reliably make that much amount of money. Okay, jeez, get this fly out of my room, bro. So there's a huge advantage over here, and I want you guys to see the opportunity that funded accounts give you. And if you aren't aware of what they are and how they work, pay attention because we're breaking it down right now. So you have that upside with very low risk on your end. Okay, some traders make 100,000 plus. Some traders also get funded accounts and they don't make any money, right? Because they jump in with the wrong mindset. They don't have a strategy yet. They try to get rich quick. They don't focus on actually how to become a profitable trader, and they just jump into trying to make quick money because they see, oh, I can get so much capital for so cheap. Let me try. Maybe I'll get it right. Maybe I'll get the payout this time. And they keep going down that approach and they never get funded or they never get payout. Okay, you don't want to be that person. So watch the entire A through Z to teach you what the steps are you need to learn. Okay, now let's go into, we covered all of this. Let's go more into the general rules. Okay, these are the general rules you'll see with prop firms, such as in your challenge phase or in your funded account stage. Okay, first things first, there is a profit target. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention before we go into that, actually, let's actually go into billing and costs. We'll go more into billing and costs right now. Okay, before we go into actual rules. So one thing I want to mention is not all prop firms work with every country. So you want to check with the prop firm you're using to see, does it work with my country before you follow through with it. There's many different prop firms to choose from. My top 4 right now are Apex, My Funded Futures, Top Step, and Take Profit Traders, like my last one. Okay, these are my top 4 right now. So if you would like, go through all of those. I'm not sure exactly what countries, I haven't memorized what countries work with either prop firm. So go ahead, check if each of those prop firms work with your country. If not, go to the next one. Okay, so we kind of covered what prop firms are. Now let's kind of go more into billing and costs. So first things first, if you fail the evaluation, you can pay a reset. You can pay a fee called a reset fee to reset your challenge account, your evaluation account, back to original balance, and it resets everything just like a fresh account. Sometimes it's cheaper than a funded account. Sometimes it's cheaper than an evaluation account. Sometimes it's more expensive. You just have to see is it worth it for you to just go for a new account or pay a reset fee. Okay, sometimes some prop firms, I think Top Step right now is doing a free reset. If you're close to your max drawdown or you hit your max drawdown, you're allowed to do a free reset on your account. So some other prop firms, I believe they charge a lot less than actually buying a new account for a reset. And some prop firms, they charge a little more, which I don't know why it doesn't make sense, but that's that. So you can always pay a reset fee to reset your account on your challenge, not on your funded account, but on your challenge account. And this won't change the actual monthly subscription of your payment for your evaluation account. And I forgot to mention that that cost of that challenge account is usually paid monthly. You have to pay monthly to get access to that funded account. I don't really know about that many prop firms that charge a one-time fee for a challenge account. Okay, usually you pay monthly for that challenge account, and then when you pass that challenge account, it's usually a one-time payment of using your funded account. So your funded account is going to have a one-time activation fee, and if it has no activation fee, great, you don't have to worry about that either. But you're usually going to see a monthly charged challenge account or evaluation account, okay, for the evaluation portion. So you have that option to reset your evaluation account whenever you want, if you do hit your max loss or if you do just want to reset it for whatever reason, and that's not going to change your monthly subscription. Now, your evaluations, okay, we mentioned over here, your evaluations are billed monthly. You want to make sure you cancel your account once you blow your account or you lose access to it and hit the drawdown so you don't get charged. Usually when you pass your evaluation account and you get to your funded stage, they're automatically going to cancel your account for you and transition and replace that account with a funded account and make you pay that one-time fee. So you don't have to worry about canceling most cases, but always just double check to make sure that you don't have to cancel or anything before you move on to the funded or after you blow your funded account or after you blow your challenge account, I'll say. Now, along with funded accounts, some of these prop firms already cover some data subscriptions for you, such as free real-time market data. A lot of these prop firms are, I think all of them actually do, they cover the cost of real-time data for you. So whatever platform you're using, you don't have to pay for real-time data. You get unlimited access to real-time data for as long as you have the account that you're trading with under that prop firm. For example, if you want to play through TradingView, you're going to have to pay $7 a month for real-time data on the E-minis, like NQ or ES or YM, whatever you trade. You're going to have to pay $7 a month for real-time data. But if you have a funded account, you don't have to pay that real-time data. These platforms already cover that for you. I don't know about the other additional costs that they cover, but I think they just cover the real-time data mainly. That's the main thing that they cover, depending on what platform you use. Okay. Now, if you move to some of the common platforms that can be worked with these funded accounts, and the ones that I recommend, the top 3 I recommend, they're going to be NinjaTrader. That's my first best one. That's the one I use every single day to trade my accounts. I think it's the overall best, and you can trade it through TradingView as well. Meaning, TradingView, if you guys haven't seen before, or if you guys have seen, you're allowed to connect your broker to the TradingView platform. If you go to the, I think it's called Trade Panel, and then it shows you a list of all the brokers. If you log into your credentials, you're able to trade your specific account through the TradingView software, which is pretty cool if you really want to, really want to work with that. I personally don't do that. I like having it all separated on one different platform, and TradingView has given me issues, especially towards market open when I do take my trades. So that's why I don't necessarily like going through TradingView. I do it all through my NinjaTrader platform, and I use my own trade copier with that as well. It's called Replicanto if you guys want to use a trade copier, by the way. Tradeovate is my second favorite kind of platform outside of TradingView that most platforms implement. And by the way, you'll see like 90% of the platforms have these like platforms to use. These two specifically. This is dedicated towards one platform specifically, which is, you can see already, TopStep. TopStep X is TopStep's own platform where they cut your commissions practically by half. And you don't have to trade on any other platform. You trade on their own platform, which is a pretty sick platform. If they implement that sort of platform, like maybe on any other prop firm or the prop firm that I use Apex right now. If they implement it with that, that'll be pretty sick. I could use that. That'll be fire. But again, I have to like try it out, see if I'd like it or not. But Tradeovate is my second favorite platform to use out of all the brokers or out of all the platforms you can use. Tradeovate is a very solid one. You can also trade this through TradingView as well. Meaning, same thing as NinjaTrader, you can have all your connections to TradingView. So you take your orders on TradingView. If you guys don't know how that's going to work, you can test it out by opening a paper trading account, because it's going to work the same way as when you're trading on your broker, right? The same buy and sell buttons, the same DOM, whatever. All right. So TopStep X is the third platform I recommend if you're trading with a TopStep platform. The reason being is because the platform is very cool and intuitive. It's almost like, it's literally a TradingView platform. Okay, I just realized I had a typo right here. Okay, that was pissing me off. I have to change that. Okay, and we had it over here. Nice. You could tell I copy pasted it there, didn't you? So TopStep X is pretty similar to TradingView in the way that it integrates TradingView into the platform itself. And you're able to trade and drag your orders and whatnot. It's a very intuitive platform, and you could trade on your phone too with that platform. You can do a Tradeovate as well. Bro, this bug is like not getting out of my room. Whatever. So you could trade that with, what's it called? What were we talking about? This bug got me off track, bro. The TopStep X platform, yeah, very solid. Literally, like, I would recommend that approach if you're going to go with TopStep, because it's very, very handy. You have very low commissions, cut by half. So that's like their go with that platform. So if you're with TopStep, go for TopStep X. If you're with anything else, go for NinjaTrader or Tradeovate, whichever one you like. And if you don't like these platforms, you can always connect it to TradingView and trade through TradingView. Okay? So that covers billing and costs. Let us transition to the general rules. Now, these are the general rules you're gonna need to know when you're trading on your challenge account or your funded account. There's many rules, but these are the general ones that you'll see across all the prop firms. Okay, you have profit target, which is, as the name is, I mentioned earlier, the profit target, which is just a predetermined profit amount required to pass the evaluation. Profit targets are only in the challenge phase because they just state that amount, that profit that you need to have on your account to allow you to pass that challenge, to pass your challenge account, your evaluation account. So once you hit that profit target, boom, challenge is done. You pay your activation fee, or you get direct access to your funded account, and then you move on to trading your funded. There's no profit target. You just have to follow a set of rules, and then you'll be able to request a payout. We'll go more into those rules down below. We kind of break down some of those rules down here in terms of payout rules, and we'll go more into those later. Okay, now you have maximum drawdown. You'll hear this a lot in the prop firm space. Maximum drawdown, max loss limit, probably something around these words. Some people will try to create their own complicated words about it. Whatever. Just max drawdown and max loss limit is usually the words people use. All that is the maximum allowable loss from the peak of your account balance. Okay. Now there's different sorts of drawdown, different forms of drawdown that you can use, different ways, different prop firms calculate it. There is static drawdown, which is the easiest one, the simplest one, which is when your drawdown doesn't move or trail at all. For example, if our static drawdown is $1,000 on a 50K account, then our max loss stays at 49,000 no matter what. If we make 3K profit on our account to get to 53K, our drawdown is still at 49,000. If we get to all the way down to 49,500, our static drawdown is still at 49,000. It's static, meaning it doesn't move. It's going to stay the same no matter how much profit we make or how much loss we have. As long as we maintain above it, we're fine and we still have our account. Once we hit it, that's when we lose access to our account. Okay, this is not so the common one. Some prop firms implement this and they have a different package for it, but you're not going to see this too much. The main ones you're going to see are intraday trailing drawdown and end of day trailing drawdown. So you need to understand these two. Intraday trailing drawdown is drawdown that is adjusted in according to the intraday realized and unrealized gains, mainly the unrealized because that's what matters. Okay, that's what moves the account balance. So in our example, we say for intraday drawdown, let's say you have a 50K account and the max you can lose is $2,500. Your drawdown is $2,500. Or reach a low of $47,500 from when you're starting your account, when you just buy your account. Your first trade goes into profit $600 and then reverses before hitting your TP and hits your stop loss of a negative $300 loss. So your trade went in profit $600, so your account went to $50,600 at the peak, okay? And then it dropped down to negative $300 and hit your stop loss for negative $300, okay? Now, when you exited that trade, you're at negative $300 loss. Now, your max drawdown always, okay, why is there a typo? Your max drawdown always trails the profit peak in real time for an intraday trailing drawdown system. So now your max drawdown is at 48,100. Now, how do we calculate that? Right? The max your account ever was in your trade in real time was 50,600. Now, if you subtract $2,500 from the peak of that, which is your drawdown size, right? The max drawdown, that'll move us to 48,100. Even though you exited your trade for a negative 300 loss, intraday trailing drawdowns make it so it goes based on the real-time profit, a real-time increase on your account, okay? Now, the different format, that's usually not as favorable, but when you have a specific approach to tackle that, which is what I do, I have a very high win rate with a low RR system, meaning there's not many times where the trade goes in my favor by a lot and then reverses and hits my stop loss because my take profit is really close. My risk to reward is very tight. So I'm not necessarily seeing trades at all really go in profit and then reverse on me. Whereas if you're trading a strategy that is a high RR, maybe 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5 on average, you might see that happen. So you might want to rethink your choice when you're going with that approach, right? This is why I say you need to cater your strategy. We'll go more into this later, but you need to cater your strategy to align with the type of trading that you do, with the type of drawdown that you have and the type of prop firm you're using, okay? Now, the next type of drawdown there is end of day drawdown. Now, this drawdown is adjusted at the end of the trading day, regardless of your intraday PNL, okay? All that means is it's kind of different than intraday trailing drawdown. It doesn't track in real time. It tracks what your account was at the end of the day. Okay, if we look at this example, using the same example above, our max drawdown would not move because if we only took that one trade, which is that trade that went $600 in profit and then stopped us out at negative $300 loss, our account will be end of day at negative $300 of a loss, which is not greater than our initial balance. So our drawdown won't move up, right? Because we're at a loss for the end of day. We're at a negative. We're sitting at $49,700 at the end of the day, which is lower than the 50K. So our drawdown is not going to move up. Whereas at the end, you can literally make $1,000 on the day, go up to 51K, and then come down to 50K. Let's say you make 1,000 and you lose 1,000, you come back to 50K. Your drawdown is going to still be the same, 47,500. You're still going to have that same $2,500 of drawdown. The reason being is because this is tracked by the end of day. It's in the name, end of day, meaning it doesn't change until the end of the day. And here's a picture that represents the trailing max drawdown. So your account increases value each trading day. The end of day account follows and then goes down, but this doesn't go down because it trails. Remember, trails off the peak balance, and then you make a lot of profit. And you can see the trailing max drawdown gets capped at your original account balance, no matter how far you went up in profit after you hit, for example, 52. After you pass the drawdown amount in your account, right? After you make $2,500 in profit. The reason being, or $2,000 in profit in this case. The reason being is because trailing drawdowns on prop firms usually get capped at the original account balance. So whatever your original account balance is, for example, 50K, your prop firm will cap your drawdown so it can't go past that point. So it's not trailing forever. It gets capped at 50K, for example, in this case. And then we can help build a buffer on our account and scale our accounts and whatnot, but we'll go more into that later. Okay. Now, going into the next rule, which is a consistency rule, very important. You guys need to understand this. All it states is that one single day's profit can't be greater than 30% of your total profit. Different prop firms have different percentages, and some have no consistency rule at all. An example of this is, for example, let's say day 1 we make $300, day 2 we make $500, day 3 we make $200 again. So our total profit is now $1,000 across all 3 days, and our biggest day is $500. Now, if we try to find what is our biggest day as a percentage of our total profit, we do our biggest day divided by our total profit, and that gives us 50%. So this doesn't meet the 30% consistency criteria. Okay, it doesn't follow it. Now, we need to make sure we follow it to be able to request a payout and follow the rules of the prop firm. How do we do that? We get the total profit on our account. We divide it by the percentage of the consistency rule, 500 divided by 30%. And that'll tell us how much total profit we need on our account to be able to follow the 30% consistency rule, or change this number with whatever percentage your prop firm's consistency rule is, and this number with whatever your biggest day is. Okay? And we're going to need to make a total of $1,667 on our account for us to fall under the consistency rule, because $500 divided by 1,667 is equal to 30%. So we fall under that. All right. So moving on to the next one, scaling plans. Some prop firms implement scaling plans where as you build equity on your account, your buying power will also increase or decrease based on your end of day P&L. This is Top Step's example I took for right now, which is, for example, with a 50K account, if your profit on the account, which is, they call it your balance, but you can also call it profit, whatever works better for you. There's different terminologies. If your balance is below 1,500, if the profit on your account is below 1,500, you only get access to 2 lots to trade with. For example, 2 minis. If your account balance goes to $1,500 to $2,000 in profit, you have access to 3 contracts to trade. If you're above $2,000, now you have access to 5 contracts to trade. Not all prop firms have this, so you have to check, does your prop firm have a scaling plan? I don't necessarily like the scaling plans, but if you don't risk this many contracts for your trading style, then you're fine. So you don't have to worry about it. So another common one you'll see is minimum trading days. For eval, all that means is the minimum number of trading days, or minimum number of days that you need to trade to require to pass a challenge. Some prop firms have only a 1 day to pass. Some of them say 5 minimum days to pass. And for funded, it's all the same thing. All it means is the minimum number of trading days or days traded that is required to be able to be eligible to request a payout. For example, Apex Trader Funding has a rule where they say you need 8 trading days, and 5 of those trading days need to be winning days of $50 or more. So the other three can be losing days, and you'll be fine. Okay. Now, some other prop firms you also see trading time restrictions. They'll say, oh, you're not allowed to trade on specific hours, such as 2 minutes before, after, or during high impact news. You're not allowed to hold positions over the weekend. You're not allowed to swing trade your positions, and because of volatility, whatever that may be. But there are going to be some time restrictions that you're not allowed to trade, and you have to be aware of that depending on what prop firm you go with. Most prop firms don't allow news trading, but some prop firms actually do allow you to hold through news depending on which one you go with. So make sure you read the rules on the specific prop firm you go with based on that. Now, the payout rules. This is not too complicated because these are also payout rules as well, the minimum trading days and trading restrictions. But for actually being able to request your payout, for some prop firms, you're going to need to have a minimum number. Some prop firms are going to have a minimum and maximum payout. Minimum maximum payout rules for first few initial payout. Okay, I meant to say minimum and maximum payout amount for first few initial payouts. For example, the first 5 payouts of your fund with your funded account, you have a $2,000 cap with a 50K account. So you're able to withdraw, even if you made 5K profit on the account and you can't withdraw all 5K. You're only limited to 2,000 for your first 5 payouts, and then you get access to all of it. Okay, some other prop firms might say you only have access to 50% of your profits, and then after your 5th payout or after 30 winning days, you're allowed to have access to all your profits, 100% of your profits. And then there might be some other prop firms that have different profit splits. They might be like, okay, 50-50, or you keep 80, we keep 20, and then when you keep making more profit and more payouts, we'll scale you to maybe you taking 90 and we taking 10, and we take 10. Or they might even say you get to keep 100% of your profits up to your first 25,000 profit that you withdraw, and then it's a 90-10 split where you keep 90 and the prop firm keeps 10. Okay, there's many different variations. Typically, you'll see either 80-20 or 90-10 or 100% for your first initial few payouts. Okay, so that kind of covers that part about the rules. Going into how to trade them specifically, you have to understand you need to adapt your trading approach to fit the rules of the desired prop firm that you're going to go with. If the prop firm, like I said, has intraday drawdown, you want to trade something with a lower RR and a higher win rate, because statistically, that's going to show that you're not going to be going in profit and then hitting your stop loss more often, because there's not that much wiggle room to your take profit. Your stop loss and your take profit are the same length. Okay, whereas if you have an end of day, you'll be safe going off with that higher RR approach. Totally up to you. Okay, now, the way I would always recommend to manage your risk on drawdowns is not like a personal account where you want to treat it differently in terms of your funded account, right? We said earlier, your funded account, the total capital you get to trade with is equal to your drawdown right here, okay? So if we have to take in account of our drawdown whenever we want to manage our risk. So my rule for going about risking on funded accounts is risk 10 to 30% of your drawdown per trade, okay? Higher win rate, risk 20 to 30% because you're less likely to go on losing streaks. And if you're a lower win rate, risk 10 to 20% because you're most likely going to happen to go on more losing streaks, and your P&L curve might go like this, whatever, kind of going up and then moving its way back down. So you want to have a lower risk per trade, so you don't blow your account from going on those losing streaks, even though you follow your strategy to the T. But if you have a higher win rate, you're going to be winning more than you're losing, so that'll help your account to grow more often. Okay, that's why you can go get away with 20 to 30% risk per trade. Okay. And again, the reason I say don't do it based off of your account size, because if we just say, let's say we say risk 1% of your account current account size. So if my account's at 50K, I risk 1%. Okay, that's $500. That's $500 per trade. Okay, that's pretty similar to saying 20 to 25% of my drawdown if my drawdown is $2,000 or $2,500. Let's just say I risk 1% of my 50K account and I lose $1,500. I'm really close to my drawdown. I have like a $500 to $1,000 left to hit my drawdown. And I still say, oh, let me risk 1% of my account. I follow that rule. Now, if I follow that rule, my risk isn't changing that much. Instead of risking $500 now, I'm risking $490 or $485, which is very similar to $500. So that's why I say, because you get closer to your drawdown, you want to reference it based on your drawdown. That's why I say risk a percentage of your drawdown. All right. And you don't want to treat your personal accounts, again, as your prop firm accounts. We kind of went over this again. I personally recommend using a higher win rate system with a low RR because that helps you build a consistent equity curve and not aim for big winners and longer losing streaks. Okay, that'll be maybe good for a personal account, but for prop accounts, that's not going to work that well because prop accounts have very tight rules and restrictions. You want to minimize the amount of losses and amount of losing streaks you have to be able to take advantage of those edges that can happen and those win streaks that can happen that can take you on a really good run and be able to get a lot of payouts and a lot more capital to trade with and buy more accounts. Okay, you want to take advantage of that because prop firms are not personal accounts. You don't treat it the same way you do with personal accounts. All right, that's going to sum it up for the full prop firm guide. We went over pretty much everything I wanted to cover. There's nothing more left, but if there are specific questions you guys do have, let me know down in the comments and we'll break it down exactly how it's going to work. Also, these prop firms do not get taxed as capital gains from at least my knowledge. All the prop firms do not do it like that, most of them. And you're going to be taxed as income, okay? Self-employment or income tax. Okay, you're not going to be paying capital gains, so it's not the 60-40 rule that you get with futures on personal accounts. That's the main thing here. So understand that difference when it comes to taxes. But I'm not giving any tax advice. That's not my job here. I'm here to tell you guys how to use prop firms. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. Hopefully you guys understood what are prop firms and how to use them properly and take advantage of them and how they work. So now you guys should know prop firms give you such a big advantage over personal accounts that there's no reason to be trading personal accounts nowadays with the opportunity you have with prop firms. All right, everybody take care. I will see you guys in the Discord. All right, let me know if you guys got any questions down below. We'll get to it. All right, peace out.